Hey guys, in this episode today I'm going to be talking about Reiki healing, and I'm going to go over some more advanced techniques. And of course, if you're a beginner or a neophyte or a newbie, whatever you want to call yourself, you can also watch this video because it's just going to help you to add things to your practice. So when you're a beginner just starting out, you learn about the symbols, okay? You learn about energy, but when you do a session, you don't really quite know what you're doing, even though you do because you've been certified and you've learned the symbols and you've learned the Reiki practice. When you actually work on someone's body, you're not really in tune with how to move energy around, open blockages in the body, find the blockages in the body, okay? You're kind of just, either drawing the symbols on the person or doing them in your mind while placing your hands on the person in the different positions that you're supposed to use. So they are still getting an effect from the Reiki, but it's not going to be quite like a more advanced practitioner. Early on too, because your intuition isn't developed yet, you may not get messages from your guides or your angels about the person, what's either going on in their life or what's taking place in the body, if there's any body ailments or disease happening in the body. The other thing too, what's nice about Reiki is even if you're a newbie and you're working on an area, okay, and then there's maybe a blockage nearby, or there's some pain in somebody's leg, okay, maybe their left leg hurts and you're working on their pelvic area, that energy transfer from the Reiki is still going to go to that leg area. So there's still some of that energy that's going to transfer to the leg area, even though you're working on a spot nearby, like the pelvis or whatnot. Also, when you start getting messages and they start coming in more strong, more clear, okay, you're going to get more and more of these messages, these intuitive messages about the person that you're working on. You'll also notice that some people you will get very minimal messages with, or you'll get like not anything at all. So in this case, it could just be that the person's energy is closed off to you. Maybe they're afraid to, be on the table and get Reiki done. They don't quite know what's happening. So they can really close off their energy from you, and this can prevent you from getting specific intuitive messages about the body issues, or intuitive messages about the person's life, or maybe even the person's guides or passed on loved ones that want to connect with you. I believe also that sometimes you don't get messages because the person is well protected. Maybe they're wearing an amulet on their neck, or they've done some kind of protection spell, okay, that's hindering you or preventing you, or their guides are preventing you from accessing more intuitive messages. Now, as a newbie, you also want to be careful what messages you share with your person on the table. I know in my practice, there's been times where I've received very personal messages about even the person's sex life. Okay, so you want to really assess what you're getting and assess whether or not you should tell the person. Sometimes certain things need to be left unsaid. So now I'm going to show you guys how to do some more advanced techniques when you're doing Reiki healing. Okay, this will come with practice, but it is a process. It's not going to happen overnight for you. So you want to get yourself a handy dandy little pendulum, okay, for starters. And you want to make sure that you program this pendulum to only Reiki sessions, okay? Or you don't even have to program it, but just to know that whenever you use this pendulum, it's strictly for your Reiki healings. It's not for anything else. It's not to communicate with your higher self. It's not to communicate with any guides, whether that be your your angels or archangels or deities that you work with. Okay, it's strictly for your Reiki sessions. That's it. That's all. So the first thing you want to do to program your crystal, well, first of all, I would purchase one, okay, and then you want to cleanse it with either sage or Palo Santo, something, you know, or you can put it in salt, okay, overnight, or for at least 24 hours in order to rid it of any negative energies from the people that handled it before you, that handled it at the store or in the manufacturing process, okay? So you want to cleanse it first, and then you want to program it. So you want to be able to work with it. You want to ask it to show you a yes and a no, okay? Okay, so you're just going to do a quick yes or a no. So you'll say, show me a yes. Okay, so this pendulum is so used to working with me that it responds right away. Okay, and then show me a no. Show me a no. Okay, that's a no. So it's the opposite way. Okay, and then you also want it to show you a maybe. Show me a maybe. Show me a maybe. Okay, it's going around in a circle. Thank you. And always thank, okay, the pendulum or your guidance, okay? So if you have a pendulum that acts a little screwy at first, okay, it's doing all kinds of weird stuff, you can't get a straight answer out of it, just keep practicing with it, because over time it will give you a proper yes, it will give you a proper no, and it will give you a proper maybe. And if you don't have the patience for that, then you can always buy yourself a new crystal, one that you resonate more with, maybe one that you're more attracted to, okay, and play around with that one. But not all hope is lost if it kind of acts a little wonky at first. Like I said earlier, just keep playing around with it, and eventually it will get accustomed to your energy, and it will give you a proper yes, a proper no, and a proper maybe. Okay, so just a quick overview. A lot of you guys already know about the chakras, but if you don't, we'll go into that. So you have your crown chakra, okay, that sits on top of the crown area. You have your third eye right about here, okay, just between the two brow bones. You also have your throat chakra, which is in the throat area. You have your heart chakra in your heart, okay, and then we have the solar plexus, which is the stomach area where the belly button is. And then we have the sacral, which is where the pubic area is, okay, where your, you know, your genital area is, okay. And then we also have the root, which goes even further down. It's basically the base of the spine, okay. Now in Reiki, there is 7 chakras that we use, okay, most practitioners. Now, it has come out that there's more than 7 now. I think there's up to 13, okay. I've just taken Rouhani healing, and with that one, it's a more, like a level up from Reiki, okay. And you work with more chakras than Reiki. Reiki, you just have the 7 chakras. All right, everybody. So I did one video already. If you haven't watched that video, watch that one first. This is going to be part 2 of the first video I did. I don't think I introduced myself either. My name is Kristen. I'm a healer, psychic, and a spiritual coach. I've been on the spiritual path for approximately 10 plus years now. And I dedicate my life in my spare time to all things metaphysical, okay? I do healings on the side. I do oracle card readings, tarot readings, you name it, okay? So anyway, let's go back into the advanced Reiki, the advanced Reiki tips, okay? Okay, so when you have someone on your massage table that you're working on, the first thing you want to do is, okay, you can do it in any order you want, but I would say more towards the beginning of the session. Maybe you do this after you've cleansed the person's energy with smoke, like sage or Palo Santo or a spray of some sort, then you next want to check their chakras. And the way that you do this is you use your pendulum that I mentioned in the last session, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to go hold this pendulum over every part of the person's body, okay, where the chakras are. Okay, so you're first going to hold it over the crown, and then the third eye, and then the throat, and then the heart, and then the solar plexus, and then the sacral chakra, and then of course the root chakra last. So when you're new at this, the best thing to do is just to ask whether the chakra is open or closed. So you're going to hold it over the crown. You're going to ask if it's open or closed. If it gives you a yes, that means it's open. If it gives you a no, that means it's closed. Or if it doesn't move, it means it's closed, okay? If there's no movement at all, it can mean it's closed. But that's usually something that comes later. So usually at the beginning, you'll either get a yes, a no, or a maybe as well. Okay, so the maybe, it might show the pendulum going around in a circle, okay, which means a maybe for my pendulum. For your pendulum, it might be something different, okay, but you'll see either a yes, a no, or a maybe. So you're going to go do that for each chakra, and you're going to try and remember that in your mind, okay, which ones were open, which ones said yes, which ones were closed, which ones said no, and which ones were a maybe, okay? So when it tells you a maybe, all it really means is that it's partially open, okay? It's partially open. It's not fully open, okay? There could be a blockage there, a partial blockage, okay? If it's a no, if it's closed, then it's definitely very blocked. And if it's a yes, then chances are that it's working pretty effectively and efficiently. Now, as some time goes on, your answers might start to change. With mine, because I've been doing this for a while now, I don't get a yes anymore or a no. I get more of either the pendulum will turn, okay, it'll go in a circle, okay, which we know that this means maybe. But over time, when it starts to go in a circle, then like I'll ask the pendulum over the chakra, I'll say, show me if it's open or closed. I'll say, show me if it's open or closed, okay? So because of the way I'm asking the pendulum, it will either go in a circle to show me that it's open, or it will stop moving altogether, and then I know it's closed. Now, the other thing you have to pay attention to as well is if it's open, is it really giving a lot of energy? Is that pendulum swinging really hard around and around? Okay, can you feel the energy? Or do you feel just a mild energy and it's slowly turning like this, or very slow, even slower than what it's doing now, okay? Then you kind of know that there might be a bit of a partial blockage there. So just keep a mental note of that. Don't concern yourself so much at the time of the beginning of the session, whether the chakras are open or closed or partially open, okay? Just be mindful of the chakras that might need a little extra work, okay? Then when you do your Reiki session, okay, for an hour or however long you do it for, at the end, towards the end, I would say, when you have about 15 minutes left or 10 minutes left, you're again going to check all the chakras, okay? The crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral chakra, and the root, okay? You're going to check it again with your pendulum. Now, at this point, most of the chakras should be working better because you've done this treatment on this person. You've given them the Reiki healing, right? However, you will notice that there's usually one or two that are still kind of out of alignment, and that might need some more work, okay? So you might have a blockage in one where the pendulum's not moving at all, or it's just moving slightly in a circle, but it's not really producing a lot of energy flow. So then you kind of know there's a bit of a partial blockage. So all you want to do at that point, once you've went from head to toe, is you're going to be mindful of which ones are closed or which ones are not flowing freely, okay? They're kind of hesitant to turn in a circle. You're going to place your hands and put more Reiki into that chakra, more Reiki into that area of the body, okay? Do your symbols, do your Mahatma energy if you want. Okay, for some of you guys, you have experience with Mahatma energy. Okay, it's basically just golden light, golden, basically white light. Okay, and you're going to put more energy into those chakras. Okay, maybe it's one, maybe it's a couple, maybe it's three. And then you're going to maybe stay on each chakra for about 5 minutes or so, 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. So you might even want to start a bit earlier than the 45-minute mark. The other thing you can do to really help to move the energy if it's kind of blocked is you can do some sound therapy on the person. Although, you know, I don't recommend this necessarily because it can be very distracting, especially when the person's been laying down for almost an hour. It can be really loud and noisy and kind of get them out of that relaxation state. But if you do really feel necessary to do it, then you can just do some light sound therapy. Now, I like to use the drum for more of the lower chakras. I do use it on the entire body, but the deeper the tones, those are usually the best for the sacral, the root chakra, as well as the solar plexus. So basically anywhere from the belly button down. And then and then I like to use more of like the more tingy, you know, instruments such as these bells. Okay. I like to use those more towards kind of like the top area, the crown, the third eye, you know, the throat, that sort of thing. And I have a specific sound bowl that I use for the heart chakra. It's attuned to the heart chakra. And so I use that, you know, for the heart, but I use all the instruments for the entire body. I'm just saying if you wanted to focus on one specific area, okay, with a certain instrument, you could also do that. Okay, so the last thing you want to do, we're going to wrap it up now because we're getting to the end of this video, is you want to go over and check the chakras. Like I mentioned, you're gonna heal them, okay, the areas that are unbalanced, okay, and not aligned, not flowing freely. You basically want to make sure that when the person gets off your table and when they're ready to leave your home or your business, wherever you work, that their chakras are all flowing, you know, the way they should be. You know, the energy is flowing about the same in each chakra, and it's pretty energized, okay? You don't want to leave them off the table when they still have a chakra that's totally blocked, okay, and the pendulum's not moving at all, or it's partially blocked. You want to try and align and balance the chakras as best as you can before the person gets off the table. Now, are the chakras going to stay in alignment and balanced forever and ever? No, because we're constantly subjected to life, right? And life can be very demanding. Sometimes we can have an injury or an illness, and then those chakras can become blocked again, or different chakras can become blocked. So we'll get into that in another video, but the time's running out. So thank you guys for watching so much. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this. Give it a like and a share. Take care. Bye.